Huge news today on Rodrygo, as it looks like he may be available for a loan deal with an obligation to buy. Now, for Arsenal, this is ideal because potentially that means you can go spend this money on Eze and not even necessarily have to worry about selling first to bring in Rodrygo. Yes, you'll still have to make the sales, but Rodrygo, for the player he is, the club he's at, Real Madrid, a Brazilian who's been one of the best players for them over the past 5 years, he's only on $200K per week. Like, yes, that's a big amount of wages. That's $12.5 million a year. But it's not wild. It wouldn't completely break our wage structure the way that, honestly, Saka and Saliba's new deals probably will. Now, if we were to sign Rodrygo fresh this year, like brand new deal, I'd expect his contract to be around $300K per week. So for the first year, you're potentially saving 1.2 million euros, give or take, should he come in on a loan. Now, what matters most would be what the obligation to buy is. Is it a obligation to buy should he play a certain amount of appearances? Is it an obligation to buy no matter what? Is that number astronomically higher because you are saving on the wages in the first year, right? Like if you were to buy him now for 75 million, but it would be 90 million obligation to buy, that kind of puts us in I mentioned in a previous video, with the World Cup next summer, it's okay to get this deal done because we know prices always inflate in World Cup years. We know that players are going to be tired. There's going to be injuries. It's going to change the market. It's very unpredictable. A lot of clubs are spending big this summer because of it. I'm very interested in this Rodrygo deal on loan. And I worry that if it's true, Liverpool may act first because for them, again, it's like they have the money to bring in who they're bringing in already, but then they could also add Rodrygo on loan without completely altering their wage structure. It seems too good to be true, and it honestly might be too good to be true, but the fact that it is a rumor that's out there just excites me nonetheless. Now, we're going to get some updates on this in the next couple of days as Rodrygo comes back to training with Real Madrid. It looks like Real Madrid are willing to part ways, but not necessarily forcing a move. It seems like Rodrygo is willing to part ways, but not necessarily forcing a move. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next weekend as we come up here, and then obviously leading into the first weekend of the Premier League season next weekend to see what the updates are with this deal. But a loan move would be best for Arsenal, but it doesn't seem like the kind of business Arsenal and Real Madrid would do. But maybe, because we have those good relationships with them, the Ozil deal, the Odegaard deal, maybe they're thinking they scratch our back. In a year or two, they can scratch ours and get Saliba. But if it was in my book, not a chance. Moving on to that Villarreal match that ended in defeat for Arsenal, their second in a row in the preseason. Been a lot of overreaction to this loss. Now, listen, we didn't play great. We're struggling with a lot of the same tactical issues we did last year. A lot of people calling that horseshoe ball, right? That ball just swings around the box, left wing, back to the central midfielder, to the right central midfielder, back to the right wing, no central access. I actually thought Ethan Nwaneri did a really good job at playing directly. We heard Mikel Arteta talk about this recently, how we're going to have to change the way we play because of signing Victor Gyökeres. We're going to have to be more direct. He wants to make runs in behind. We need to feed him in behind. Now, Ethan did a really good job of receiving the ball in the half spaces and driving with the ball. I don't think he released the ball quickly enough, but it's his first time playing with Gyökeres. A lot of people I saw commenting on Twitter being like, he'll never be a creative player because he played 60 minutes as a number 10 in a preseason match with a striker he never played with before. Like, the reactions to what happened in that match are just not realistic or make any sense. The whole point of preseason is to attempt things, try different tactics, put players in positions they haven't played already and get them used to it, right? Yes, would I have preferred for our midfield three to have been Ethan, Declan, and Zubimendi? Yes, that three would have been more fun to watch because I at this moment think that's our starting midfield potentially at Old Trafford. Like, there's no doubt Nwaneri has been better than Odegaard so far in preseason. But it wasn't the case. And Ethan did what he could with what he had in front of him. I thought Norgard was, again, very strong. Like, this is a very smart signing for £10 million. He will be very useful, very reliable. We'll see him play plenty. He won't play in matches that we have everyone fit, but a very reliable player. Christian Mosquera, wow. I mean, I had watched some tape of him, but until you really watch someone play, 45 minutes, he is one of the quickest, strongest duelers I have ever seen in a back line. The rapidity, the rapidness to the way he runs, and the power off the ball that he has, when he gets his understanding of positioning down a little bit more, especially in this team with the high line that we play, he's just going to be a menace because he can play as high of a line as you need and he can chase you down. He was at fault for one of the goals, but overall, super impressed with Mosquera. Another great signing. And lastly, on the new signings, Noni Madueke. Listen, he played 15 minutes at left wing after one one training session with Arsenal after having a very long season. If you watch that training session that they posted, it seemed like he was mostly playing off the right. He was just the only option we had to come in off the left because, honestly, Max Dowman has maybe leaped him as the backup right winger, or especially in preseason, they're giving Max this opportunity to explode. And so Noni had to come in on the left. He did fine. I don't think he really tried anything. Again, another one I saw people super overreacting to. But I'm excited to see Noni get a real chance, hopefully in this last match against Bilbao at the Emirates, I think on Sunday. So that'll be interesting. But as I mentioned with Max Dowman, some are calling him the next Messi. The rival for Lamine Yamal. To me, he looks more like a mix of Kaká and Zinedine Zidane, just an unbelievably powerful runner. I mean, what he's doing at 15 years old is absolutely insane. He, in every match he's played in, has looked like the best player on the pitch on either team. He's already won 2 penalties in, a total of 75 minutes of action against senior footballers. Like, he's so skilled with the football that even senior footballers are taking him down in the box because that's the only way they can stop him. That's how good Max Dowman is. And I think this actually works really well if we don't end up bringing in a left winger, that Max is kind of soccer rotation in some ways. Like, he's not going to play 2,000 minutes. But, I gave an estimation of 750 to 1,000 minutes. I'm leaning on the high side of that at 1,000 minutes. People were saying, he'll make maybe 2 or 3 cup appearances. Like, he's showing he's ready to play at this level. They're going to be protective of him. If it seems too physical at times, they're not going to risk him. If he's playing tons of matches, they're not going to risk him. He's going to play for the U21s. Like, there are all these things that are still a part of the process for Max Dowman. But I would be surprised if he doesn't play at least 750 minutes should things go well. Like, they're not going to hold him back too much. He's clearly ready to go, and Arteta has said it himself. They are absolutely 100% believing in Max Dowman to be a part of the team this year. And the way that our transfer strategy developed this summer also had to do with the way that Ethan and Max have played on this preseason. And the fact that the two of them at 18 and 15 years old are reliable players in the squad, it's a real blessing. And I think a lot of people are not quite grasping that. Like, we've just spawned between the two of them and Miles nearly 300 million euros of talent that are 15, 18, and 18 who are ready to come into the team and make a difference in a year where we're going to be fighting on 4 different fronts to win trophies. But no matter what, there's always going to be the Arteta outers. But I just can't believe the outpouring I'm seeing that are basically saying it's a guarantee that Arteta gets sacked by the end of this year, if not during the season. I just don't see it that way in the slightest. Even if we don't win a trophy, I don't think that Arsenal sees it that way. Unless we are absolutely a disaster this year, maybe. But if we're 3rd place and quarterfinals of the Champions League and maybe a semifinal or a final in one of the cups and we still go trophyless, there's no shot that Arteta gets sacked. That's just not the way that this club operates, and they shouldn't. Listen, he's not gotten everything right. I think we all thought his talent ID was perfect. There's been some, lack of fluidity with the injuries we've had over the last couple of years, especially last season. We were a little unlucky 2 years ago. I mean, Trossard doesn't miss a tap-in against Aston Villa, and we win the league, winning our final 15 matches in a row. Like, there's some things that people need to remember about the way that this team has been structured and built around Mikel Arteta's principles before they start talking. And I think when the season starts, we're all going to see that. So make sure to hit the subscribe button down there so you can keep up with everything going on with Arsenal. As the transfer window is coming to a close, we still need to make a big signing or two. Make those sales happen. Keeping you updated here on Arsenal Report, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.